Hi, I'm Jarrad Brown, Australian expat financial planner based here in Singapore. Welcome to my video series. Here we tackle some of the tough personal finance questions for Aussies all over the world. Today, I'd like to share with you some simple tips for how to prepare your personal finance emergency kit. Now, this is a little bit different to your will, to your standard power of attorney documents. This is for any sort of emergency. It might be losing your job, it might be losing a loved one, it might be having to quickly leave the country, relocate, whatever disaster might strike. This is the kit to ensure that your loved ones would be taken care of and that your affairs can also be dealt with in a seamless and as stress-free as possible manner. So let's have a look at what you should include in this kit. So the first item that you should include in your emergency kit are your estate planning documents. Now, this is not just your will, but it's also who to contact to get a copy of your will, any financial planner details that they need, if your lawyer's got a copy of the will, if there are trust professionals involved, make sure that the contact details are included here. You'll also want to have copies of your power of attorney, the contact details for your executor, obviously a copy of your latest will. I would also suggest including a bit of an instruction letter for your loved ones, for the executor to know exactly where to find the key information for your estate planning documents. The second item to include are your insurance documents. So here you should include your health insurance documents, life, disability cover, income protection cover, even your trauma cover policy documents. If you've got insurance held inside your superannuation, make sure you include your superannuation details as well. Now here, to make matters simple, I would also suggest including any contact details for your financial planner or your insurance broker if they've helped to set up the policies for you. Make sure that it's as simple as possible. Your loved ones, your executor can step through the process to claim on your insurance if necessary, and they don't need to be chasing down multiple insurance companies trying to figure out what your policy number is, how much coverage is there, who to contact. Make it as simple as possible with some cheat sheets and all of your policy details for your insurance. The third item to include is all of your tax information. So if you're an Australian in Singapore, you might want to include your Singapore ID number, your tax ID number. If you're on an employment pass, that will be your FIN number, or your NRIC number if you're a PR or Singapore citizen. Now, I would also suggest including your Australian tax file number and the tax file numbers for any companies, any trusts, self-managed super fund, whatever else may be involved. Make sure that the tax ID numbers or tax file numbers are all clearly recorded. Now here, I would also suggest give the details of your accountant and your financial planner here, because naturally they're going to be able to assist in any final tax returns, any updates to regulators or whatever else might be involved. They'll naturally be able to assist. The fourth item to include is your social media login details. Now, we've all faced the unfortunate circumstance of knowing someone that's passed away who still has a Facebook profile or a LinkedIn profile, whatever else it may be, simply because the family doesn't have the details, may not even know that it exists, and doesn't know actually how to take these profiles down. It can also be quite difficult to try and chase down the actual social media companies to try and get them taken down. So here, include your login ID, include your passwords. Naturally, make sure it's safe, encrypted if you need to. Make sure that it's not just visible and accessible for all, but make sure it's simple for your loved ones to be able to take down your profiles if necessary. The fifth item to include in your personal finance emergency kit are all of the details for your investments, your pensions, any cash management accounts, any investments that you might hold, private equity, shares, ETF portfolios. Make sure you clearly outline your account numbers, the providers that they're with, and a rough idea of what's where. If you've got shares held with share registries, make sure that there are shareholder statements, you've got shareholder reference numbers, or holder ID numbers if they're with different brokers. I would also suggest including here contact details for your financial planner, contact details for any stockbroker that you deal through, and anyone else who may be able to assist or may be required to assist in the event that you're not around in terms of tidying up these affairs. So make sure these details are handy, make sure your loved ones know who to contact. The sixth and final item to include in your personal finance emergency kit is to simply make sure that your loved ones have access to funds. Now by this I don't mean shares or other gifts that are in your will, I mean access to cash. Either a bank account that's genuinely in their name, because they may face trouble accessing your funds if you pass away. So make sure they've got a bank account in their name. If that's not possible for whatever reason, then make sure they have access to cash. If they're going to need to relocate, to book flights, to send things home to family or to loved ones, make sure they've got access to funds or know how to arrange it. Make it as simple as possible. Here, again, a little bit like your investments, list the details for where you might hold cash, where you might hold savings, which bank, what are the account numbers, and roughly what amounts, what currencies are sitting where. If there are private bankers involved or other personal banking staff, again, make sure that the contact details are included. I hope that shed some light on exactly what you should have in your personal finance emergency kit. This is an incredibly important one, naturally not something just for Australian expats or even expats. Everyone should have an emergency kit, cover the basics, prepare for the worst and naturally expect the best, but make sure that your bases are covered. If you have anything else you'd suggest be added in a personal finance emergency kit, drop a note in the comments. If you found this helpful, insightful, please do remember to subscribe, turn on the notifications. I really appreciate you tuning into the video, and I look forward to seeing you next time.